Hey, what's up everybody, this is Mike, welcome back to another video. Today I'll show you how the DJI Mavic 2 Pro flies over the fog. Let's go. So I hope you enjoyed this little edit that I did from a couple of flights that I had over the fog with my Mavic 2 Pro. First things first, let's start off with the basic safety stuff. With this video, I don't want to encourage you to fly over the fog. I just want to share what my experience has been when I did that. I shared a couple of clips on Instagram and I got many questions about my settings, about how the drone was performing. Did I have any issues? And I just wanted to answer all of these questions and give you guys some information that hopefully would be useful for you. Please always follow your country's rules and regulations about drone flying, and if you do decide to fly over the fog, please make sure everyone is safe. In many situations, when you're flying the drone over the fog, you will lose it from your line of sight, and in many countries that is forbidden. So once again, I'm not encouraging you to do that. If you do it, it's at your own risk. Now let's get to my experience with flying over the fog. With my Mavic 2 Pro, in both occasions that I've flown over the fog, I just wanted to take a couple of photos, but during the flight, I decided why not just record some quick videos, because I've never done that before. It might be interesting. So those clips that you saw were not intended to be a whole video. They were just quick shots that I took while I was going for some photos. Anyway, one of the first things you need to know is that depending on the thickness of the fog, it might be damaging for your drone. So you never need to stay longer in the fog itself. You need to be quick and go through it as quickly as possible, because the moisture in there could damage the motors of the drone and it might get a bit more serious. I was browsing some forums and I saw that many people that have tried to fly over the fog have experienced problems when landing. That is because the drone recognizes the fog as a solid surface and refuses to go through it when you try to land. So it might be a good idea to turn off the bottom sensors of the drone. It's very easy to do it from the settings. Personally, I've never had that issue myself. I just go through it and the drone is not refusing to do it. It goes as smoothly as ever. So in case you want to avoid that, you just need to turn off your bottom sensors and the drone should be fine. I think when it comes to connectivity, this is the most important factor, and you need to use a drone that has a very solid connection, such as the Mavic 2 Pro or Zoom. I think OcuSync is a must if you want to try something like this, because if you're using a drone that has Wi-Fi connectivity, for example, like the Spark or the Mavic Air, you just won't be able to connect to the drone through the fog, and you might lose connection, you might lose the drone, and it's all downhill from there. I've tried flying in the fog with the Mavic Air and also with the Spark, and I couldn't even go through it. I had many problems with the connection, so I've never ever managed to do it. But with the Mavic 2 Pro, it's a breeze. It works perfectly, so keep that in mind. One more thing that I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about how you need to disable the bottom sensors is the fact that you never have to use return to home button. You always need to fly manually back to your home point, and that is to avoid any potential problems with the signal, because as we all know, things could get very wrong in the fog itself, and it's not a normal scenario, so it's a much better idea to fly manually back to you. And what I normally do is go just higher in the sky without moving too much forward or backwards or to the sides. I try to keep the drone very close to me, so in case something happens I can just go down and it will go back to where it took off. And lastly, when it comes to settings, I think using filters is an absolute must, simply because everything is so white everywhere. It's almost the same as shooting snow. So in that scenario, of course, you need ND filters. Depending on the conditions around you, you might need ND4 or ND8 if it's cloudier, but in case the sun is shining very strongly, you might need ND16 or even ND32. The worst part is that you don't really know how strong the light is above the fog, so you have to try it and see for yourself, and then maybe land, change the filter and get back up. When it comes to white balance, it's very tricky to set up because the conditions change very quickly. In my case, I was using the cloudy white balance setting, but then I had to switch to sunny. You have to adjust it depending on the conditions. And of course, if you're taking photos, it's much better and so much easier, especially if you shoot in RAW, because you don't really need to adjust the white balance. You can manually adjust it afterwards in post, but for video it's a bit more tricky and the results are not as good as the photos. I am going to show you a couple of photos on the screen right now so you can see how the photos have turned out, and people have reacted very positively to those photos, so I hope you will like them as well. And there you guys have it. This has been my experience when flying over the fog with my Mavic 2 Pro. Once again, please fly safe, and if you're not perfectly comfortable with your drone, don't try to replicate it. So I hope you found this video useful and interesting. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my future uploads. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy, and I'll catch you in my next one. Ciao!